Welcome to my channel. Support our channel by subscribing. Your subscription helps us grow and create more intriguing content like this. Now, let's dive into today's story. Title: I found my wife's affair photo album. Now I'm tempted to do the same. The day started off as any other. Alex Bennett. A 34-year-old architect was spending his Saturday at home, finishing up a few projects. His wife, Lily Bennett, had already left for her yoga class, saying she'd be gone most of the day for some errands. Alex took this as a chance to tidy up, a rare task he actually enjoyed. As he straightened out their bedroom closet, Alex noticed a small, unfamiliar box shoved toward the back. Curiosity piqued, he reached in, pulling it out and brushing off the dust. He opened the box, expecting it to be filled with old photos of them together, precious memories. But what he found was a far cry from cherished memories. It was a photo album of a completely different nature. As he flipped through, his heart pounded. Picture after picture revealed Lily with another man, a co-worker named Mason Walker. They were laughing, sharing intimate glances, and in some photos, locked in an unmistakable embrace. Alex felt the blood drain from his face. He dropped the album, his hands shaking, as he tried to process what he'd just seen. The world he thought he knew, the love he thought he shared with Lily, it all felt like a lie. Alex spent the following days in turmoil. His mind was a battlefield of conflicting emotions: hurt, anger, betrayal, and, to his own horror, the desire for revenge. Each time he replayed the memories he'd shared with Lily, he felt as though someone had gutted him. How long had she been lying to him? How could he have been so blind? He thought about confronting her that night, demanding answers. But something stopped him. The anger wasn't enough to quench the pain, and deep down, he wasn't ready for the answer he feared she'd give. Instead, a darker thought began to creep into his mind. If she could betray him, maybe he could do the same. Maybe he could make her feel what he was feeling now. Around this time, Alex reconnected with Sophie Evans, an old friend from college who had recently moved back into town. Sophie was someone he'd shared a strong connection with during their university days. She was warm, creative, and had always had a kind word for everyone around her. Recently, out of a tough breakup herself, Sophie seemed to understand the pain Alex was going through, even though he hadn't shared his suspicions with her. Their casual coffee meetups quickly became more frequent. Sophie had this way of making Alex feel seen and heard, a warmth he hadn't felt in ages. Over cups of coffee and long walks, Alex found himself opening up to her, sharing his frustrations, though he kept the details of Lily's betrayal to himself. He could feel an attraction brewing between them, one that was hard to ignore. The temptation was undeniable. One evening, as they sat at a cozy cafe, Sophie reached out and placed her hand over his, giving him a look that lingered a little too long. Alex's heart raced. For the first time in his marriage, he felt the thrill of the forbidden. But as he held her gaze, he felt a pang of guilt. Was he really willing to throw away his values just for the sake of revenge? Days later, Sophie invited Alex over for dinner. They shared laughs and reminisced about their college days, the atmosphere warm and intimate. As they sat on her couch, the conversation quieted, and they found themselves sitting closer, their faces mere inches apart. Alex could feel the pull, the intense urge to close the distance between them. He thought of the pain Lily had caused him, the betrayal that shattered his heart. Maybe he deserved a chance at happiness, even if it was fleeting. But just as he leaned in, an image flashed through his mind. Lily, the years they'd spent together, the promises they'd made. He pulled back, his heart pounding, torn between the temptation and his values. I can't," he whispered, standing up abruptly. Sophie gave him a sympathetic smile. sensing the internal conflict he was wrestling with. "You're a good man, Alex," she said softly, her voice filled with understanding. "And that's why I know you'll make the right decision." After days of agonizing over his emotions, Alex knew he couldn't keep silent any longer. One evening, he placed the photo album on the kitchen counter and waited for Lily to return home. As she walked through the door and spotted the album, her face turned pale, her eyes wide with fear and guilt. "Alex, I can explain," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Explain?" Alex's voice was cold, his hurt barely concealed. "Explain how you could betray me like this? How you could throw away everything we built together?" Lily burst into tears, breaking down as she confessed. She claimed she'd felt lonely, that his long hours at work had left her feeling invisible. She said Mason had been someone to talk to, and that their affair had spiraled into something she hadn't planned. Her words only deepened Alex's pain, each excuse feeling like a knife twisting in his heart. "You could have come to me," Alex snapped, his voice shaking. "But instead you chose to betray me." There was a moment of silence, thick with tension. Taking a deep breath, Alex confessed that he, too, had been tempted to betray her, though he hadn't gone through with it. Lily's face reflected a mix of shock and guilt, realizing that her actions had nearly driven him to the same path of betrayal. The following days were filled with reflection. Alex stayed with a friend, needing space to clear his head. Sophie reached out, but he knew he had to focus on his marriage before making any decisions. He thought about what he truly wanted, asking himself whether revenge would truly bring closure or only deepen the wound. After much thought, he decided that if he were to move forward, he needed honesty and a path to healing. When he returned home, he offered Lily a choice: to attend therapy together and work on rebuilding the trust she'd shattered, or to end their marriage peacefully. Lily, remorseful, agreed to seek help, pledging to earn his trust back. Therapy was challenging, forcing both Alex and Lily to confront their flaws and insecurities. They learned to communicate openly, revealing the unmet needs and frustrations that had pushed them apart. Alex struggled with forgiveness, but therapy gave him tools to work through his pain. Slowly, they rebuilt their relationship, setting new boundaries and prioritizing open communication. While things weren't perfect, Alex found himself letting go of his desire for revenge, choosing instead to rebuild a future he could be proud of. He realized that he could still be true to himself, even in the face of betrayal. Thank you for joining us on Alex's journey of heartbreak and resilience. Betrayal can push us to our limits, testing our values and challenging us to make difficult choices. If you've ever been in a similar situation or have thoughts on Alex's decision, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave your comments, share this story, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories that dive into the complexities of love, loyalty, and forgiveness. Thanks for watching.